If you look at a trading screen without knowing what it means, the flashing numbers and oscillating lines look like a casino. It resembles a game of chance played with algorithms and high-frequency machines. For an ICU nurse, these monitors carry clinical weight. A widened QRS complex or a flattened T-wave signals a body's internal economy falling out of balance, a data point that demands an immediate, disciplined response. Financial charts provide similar signals. A green or red candlestick documents the exact moment where two groups of people met, disagreed on value, and reached a settlement through their capital. To survive this environment, you must adopt the mindset of a clinician. Success comes from abandoning the hope for a lucky payout and learning to treat every price movement as a symptom to be diagnosed. This approach is rooted in the work of Ludwig von Mises. He lived through the Weimar Republic's hyperinflation, witnessing a world where governance promised stability but delivered the total destruction of purchasing power. Mises defined economics through praxeology, the science of human action. He argued that every market outcome is the result of purposeful, intentional choices made by individuals trying to improve their situation. The foreign exchange market records millions of these purposeful choices every second. Every buy and sell order is an expression of human will, the visible trace of an invisible decision made in a city you may never visit. If the market is a record of human behavior, then analyzing a chart is a study of psychology. You are looking at the collective heartbeat of global human action. Just as a surgeon must master physical anatomy before entering an operating room, a trader must understand the market's internal machinery before risking capital. We can track this through perfusion, the clinical term for blood flow through tissue. In the markets, this is liquidity. When capital flows freely through an instrument, spreads remain tight and price moves predictably from one level to the next. In an illiquid market, that flow is blocked. Much like a restricted artery failing an organ, a lack of volume causes price to gap and slip, making it impossible to execute a clean, stable trade. Your choice of broker determines the quality of this perfusion. Transparent execution models route your orders directly to liquidity pools, while dealing desks take the opposite side of your trade, creating a structural conflict of interest. Attempting to trade in a poorly perfused market with a dealing desk is identical to performing surgery with contaminated instruments. The environment itself is the primary risk factor. With the right infrastructure, you can begin reading vital signs. This is the study of price action, analyzing the raw behavior of the market without the noise of lagging indicators. This diagram shows a single candlestick, representing a specific period of time. It records where buyers and sellers agreed to transact, how far they pulled the price apart, and who ultimately won the battle at the close. A candlestick with no body is called a doji. It signals total market indecision. Buyers pushed up, sellers pushed down, and neither side gained territory, the market's equivalent of an inconclusive diagnostic test. A hammer candle tells a more dramatic story. During the session, sellers drove price lower in a panic, but buyers stepped in with enough force to reclaim the entire range. It is the visual signature of a market rebounding from a crisis. These movements often respect support and resistance levels, the floors and ceilings of price. These aren't arbitrary lines, they are traces of institutional memory, where large participants have historically chosen to buy or sell. To differentiate between short-term noise and the underlying trend, we use moving averages. If a single candlestick represents the erratic weather of this afternoon, the moving average represents the underlying seasonal climate. Mastering these signs allow you to anticipate a market shift long before the headlines or analysts sound the alarm. Professional trading relies on a calculated risk distribution. While a gambler accepts total exposure on a single outcome, a trader distributes small risks across many positions to ensure their statistical edge can express itself. Cutting a losing trade requires the detachment of an ER doctor performing triage. You swiftly remove a failing position to save the larger portfolio. This is a clinical protocol. Observe the data without emotional bias. Follow the tested strategy, and remove your ego from the result of any single trade. Treating individual losses as routine business expenses is the only framework that prevents a trader from being paralyzed by the uncertainty of the market. Many traditional careers offer professional autonomy, but they lack economic autonomy. Your schedule and your pay grade are often determined by staffing algorithms and institutional hierarchies. The global market is a different arena. It doesn't care about your credentials or your background. It only cares if your diagnosis of price is correct. If you are right, you are rewarded. If you are wrong, you pay the price. Approaching this as a business is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is a daily, rigorous pursuit of financial independence that requires the discipline of a specialist. Moving from the ward to the charts, a trader stops selling their time to an institution. You reclaim your capital, accept full accountability for your decisions, and build a life directed by your own analysis.